was just Caesar's just wiping this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There was,
It's the bad fun.
it was cool. To see Andrew Dixon, super nice guy. Just like all the, I mean,
And welcome to Sports on Tap. We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio. It's 2706 Boston Road. If you would like to put it in your GPS and come on up, it's a beautiful night.
Gorgeous four
night.
cities.
That's right.
You know what those four cities are?
Should I say them, or do you want to
I'm setting
tell
up
her?
for you, man.
Oh, okay. We have Hinckley. Ding. We have Strongsville.
Ding,
We have Brunswick.
ding.
And North Royalton, everyone.
Oh, man, this guy's a
it's
genius.
unbelievable. I still...
This guy's a genius.
Ed, you kind of made that very nice for us here at Sports on Tap. And our next guest, actually we have a few guests, and they are from the Achievement Centers, and they were part of the NFL Draft.
Cornerback Hanford
Good
Dixon.
evening, guys. How are
To
you?
announce our next pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns welcomes Jeff Sinko, volunteer, and Drew Brayford, athlete from the Cleveland Browns Adapted Football League.
Thank you. And with the 114th pick of the 2016 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Ricardo Lewis, wide receiver, Auburn.
That was very cool. And we want to welcome in Jeff Sinko and Mike Urban from the Achievement Centers. Guys, thanks for joining us here at Z's.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us, guys.
I'll tell you what, that sounded almost better than the NFL commissioner. Jeff,
At
I
least
gotta
you
say.
didn't get booed.
That's true.
That's true.
He got torn apart in Chicago.
I think
He
every
did.
pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, every single pick.
Every
He
time
did.
he walked down the ramp or whatever, like a wrestler, he got booed.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. And first to start off, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Achievement Centers is?
Great. Achievement Centers for Children was established in 1940. We have 3 locations, one in Highland Hills, one in Westlake, and then Strongsville, which is referred to as Camp Cheerful. I'm sure a lot of people drive by that sign on 82. We provide comprehensive services for children with disabilities. A part of all those services that we provide is our recreational program, and that's kind of where I come in. About 5 years ago, I was brought in to start an adaptive sports program. We originally started with a wheelchair basketball team in a partnership with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we parlayed that into a relationship with the Cleveland Browns. And that's kind of why we're here today, and how Jeff had that experience announcing the draft choice. We met with some of the team over at the Cleveland Browns and pitched them the idea that we wanted to be able to provide football for kids with special needs. They loved the idea, and it's been a great partnership, both with the Cleveland Browns and also the Cleveland Browns Foundation.
Hey,
Very cool.
Can you talk a little bit about the program, the football program in particular? With what is it involved, and how does it work?
Yeah, so the football program runs through May through July, and we have 2 leagues. One is for kids who are up on their feet, able to run and do all that. We have 2 locations though. One in Berea. We use Lou Groza Field, and then we also use Bedford Middle School, and we have a secondary location. It's about 100 kids that we have participating right there in those 2 locations. And then in addition to that, with the wheelchair program that we've run, we've also moved that over, and we offer a football program now as well. And we play in a back parking lot of a church in Middleburg Heights for about 12 kids in wheelchairs. Most people refer to it as a parking lot. We call it our stadium. The program, since we began 5 years ago, started with about 60 kids, and it's grown now to over 100. We model it after any recreational program. We just have to modify some of the rules and some of the we get the kids together in huddles. We set them up. We let them run plays. We make sure that we provide or keep the integrity of the game there. The kids love it, and we can't do it without volunteers like Jeff.
And Jeff, what as a head coach, what is it? What goes into it for you as doing the organization and figuring all this out on your end?
You know, I always try to model it after playing football for Brunswick my entire life. You know, you go back to playing in Pee Wee football. You know, you try to understand like what the coaches started with. And a lot of these kids have never picked up a football, let alone run, pass, catch, tackle, whatever it might be. So I try to model it off of what I grew up with. It's just the simple basics of the game.
Absolutely, and for those of you who don't know, Jeff and we grew up playing football together. We played many a backyard game against each other, and in the Pee Wee leagues against each other, and then as teammates finally in high school. So, I know exactly where Jeff's coming from when he's talking about where he picked up a lot of this from.
And a lot of these kids, we were talking a little bit earlier, can't really play, with the other kids because it's just too physical. You talked about needing volunteers like Jeff. You have 75 kids, and you said you could use 75 volunteers. How would that help, and what do you guys have to do special, obviously, with these kids to really teach them the game of football and get them involved and feel good like they're learning?
Well, to cover the volunteer area, what I do is I reach out to the local community. We have, on our roster right now, probably 65 different schools, colleges, and universities that have at least one volunteer come through, our program and assist. I go out and talk to a lot of the head coaches in the area and get those people, get the coaches to get their kids to get active and involved. So it's not just about the football, it's about the community. It's big picture stuff. As far as getting the kids ready, what we normally do is before season, we have what's called training camp. The first 2 sessions we have at our location in Camp Cheerful. We invite all the groups to come out, and then we set up PVC goalposts so the kids can kick field goals. We set up tire tosses so the kids can throw through rings. We set up dummies so they can run through. We try and roll out the red carpet to give these kids and their families the true football experience.
And what has the response been from not only the kids but from the parents that are involved?
Well, the parents come up to Mike and I, because I've been blessed to be part of the head coach for the last 6 years, and they say, you guys every year outdo yourselves from the year before. And we learn from, I don't want to say mistakes, but things that we can improve on. And the kids, the faces that they have after playing or catching a touchdown, whatever it might be, and seeing the parents' reactions even better, I think, than the parents.
We've always said with the program, why are we doing this? And I said there's 3 components to this that we want to make sure that we're able to check off after the end of a season, and it's the social interaction first. A lot of the families, they just want their sons and daughters to be able to make some friends and come out to the field and get a few high fives and be a part of a team. The other component is the skill component. We don't just roll some footballs out there. We're actually trying to teach the kids real football skills through handoffs to catching to throwing to flag pulling. We put it all out there for them. And the other is the physical activity. A lot of these kids don't get the opportunity. They love their video games, and this is once a week for 2 hours an opportunity to go out there and run around and be active.
And Jeff, how did you get involved with this, with the organization?
Well, my wife and I, we've been a part of the organization of Achievement Center for the last 10 years or so. And the former director went up to Stacy and I said, we are looking to start a football program. I know that you played your entire life. Would you be interested in helping coaching? And I said, when do I start? So we started actually when we were pregnant with our son, and met Mike very early on. And, we've grown the organization since day one 5 years ago. We're just coming up on our 6th season.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how did you guys get involved with the NFL draft? You had a chance to say the pick. How do you get involved with something like that you can actually, you're on live, nationally television there, or national television, and you get to say the pick. I mean, that's pretty cool.
So through our partnership with the Cleveland Browns Foundation, they've done so much for this program. It's incredible. Opportunities from players coming out to our training camp sessions to interact with the kids. To we go to VIP training camp day. The Browns give us tickets to preseason games. We're able to use their training facility in Berea to host our All-Star game. This was one of those other components of that, where the group over there for the foundation contacted me and said, "Hey, we have this great opportunity, and we'd love if you could find a volunteer and one of your players to come down to the stadium and be able to read the draft pick live." And Jeff has been so involved and so instrumental in the success of the program that I called him right away. I said, "Hey, you're my first phone call. I'd love if you're available, if you'd go ahead and do this." And it worked out. And then we also brought along a player. His name was Drew. Drew's been with us from day one as well. And so maybe Jeff can talk a little bit more about the actual experience. But the Browns have been wonderful in this partnership.
Yeah, when I got the phone call from Mike, I thought it was a joke at first, Growing up a Browns fan, and, being a Browns fan, the draft is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So for us,
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
and I've been a person that watched it, all day Saturday and Sunday when they had it for 2 days, and now Thursday night, Friday night, and so on. And Mike said, "Hey, you have this opportunity," and it seems like I've been practicing my entire life for saying, with the 114th pick, 'cause I've watched it so many dang times that I knew it offhand. And the ironic thing was we were supposed to be at a wedding in Virginia that day from a college buddies that we knew for 4 years very strong, and my wife texted him and said, "Hey, this opportunity came up." He's like, "I would have done the same thing." So
That's good. He was understanding about
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of those. You don't want to say it's once in a lifetime, but like when it happens, you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Again. So, what was the whole experience like at the stadium, and just kind of, when you got there, and just the whole pomp and circumstance behind it?
It was VIP. I was expecting to walk in, just being in a dark room with a podium with a backdrop and having a camera guy there, and that's it. And we walk into the VIP lounge, food. TVs all over, and Hanford Dixon just sitting there just talking with them for 25 minutes. And you're sitting there like, is this really happening? Is this real life? You got to slap yourself. And, they had this entire entertainment area outside where they had flag football going on. They had Hanford Dixon. They had, everyone behind the scenes that you never expect to see for something as simple as a 114th pick of the draft. It's not the first pick. And, walking out to the field to be on Cleveland Browns Stadium was amazing, just as a longtime Browns fan, and being able to step on the podium and announce an actual pick for the NFL draft was once in a lifetime.
And really, the pick was supposed to be pick 100.
It was.
And and I knew this was happening. I'm like, man, I was doing some yard work. I got to stop so I can see what's going on here. So they pick number 99. They show that, and then as soon as you see it, Oakland is now on the clock at 100. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it
what
was
happened
fun.
here? I mean, that was from my perspective. What about your perspective?
Well, it was funny because we were prepped and ready to go for pick 100 because the 99th pick was ours.
Yeah.
And they said as soon as the 99th pick does his announcement, you step on the podium and it's go time. So they announced the pick for 99, and we're all ready, all psyched, ready to go. And 1 foot on the podium, and they said, guy from the background says, "We trade the pick." Then all that adrenaline, it's like, playing football or baseball, and it's like, you're like, oh, well, how long do I got to wait now? So luckily it was, 14 picks later, but it was cool to see just the interaction with everyone.
Do they have the pick for 100 ready, or was it one of those deals as you got on the podium and then they handed you the card at that moment?
So just like example for the 99th pick, the Browns had all night, on Friday to understand who the pick was. And the person did not get handed the pick of who it was until 2 seconds before it aired.
Oh, wow.
And same with mine. So I was up there on the podium not knowing who we were going to select. And I'm just praying to God that it's not someone with a crazy name.
I was about to say.
I'm like, just please be John Smith, And the guy from the background's like, I'll yell the name so you can get it in your head first. I'm like, okay. And when he said the name, I'm like, okay, this is very easy for me to recite and no problem at all.
Yeah. I was about to say, I wonder how many times did you practice, once you knew you were gonna, have the pick or you're gonna say this on national television, how many times did you practice before you went up there?
Thursday, when Mike called me the Thursday before, said about a week and a half, I practiced 30 times a day. And it was at the gym or if it was at home, rocking my daughter to sleep. I was like, okay, I can't screw this up because I know all my buddies will give me a hard time for, drawing a blank or whatever it might be. And when they trade the pick, I'm like, whatever I say, I can't say the 100th pick because that's what I practiced for 2.5 weeks. So
oh, man.
I just had to read the cue card. I'm like, okay, it's 114th. Don't mess it up.
Very
So
cool.
so now do your buddies still give you a hard time, call you Hollywood or anything like that now?
Not yet, but I'm going to see a lot of them on Saturday, so I'm sure they're going to razz me a little bit for having a cheesy smile on NFL.com. So
Now the question is, did you know who Ricardo Lewis was?
I did. Also, he
Okay.
made the famous catch for the Auburn game.
Yes.
So when I read the name card, I was like, okay, I know the guy at least. It's not someone from a Division III school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. At least I knew the guy because
Yeah,
in
fair
fourth
enough.
round it could be wishy-washy.
It's interesting. He's like, when you're describing that, it's almost like when you're preparing for a game, and we all know this from our high school experiences, where you do the warm-ups, you're getting pumped up, and then about 20 minutes before the game, you go into the locker room, and you cool off for like 15 minutes, and it's like, wait, well, something seems a little wrong about that. In fact, Coach Dre still talks about that. He didn't see a point in getting all jacked up for the game and then going to sit down for 15 minutes. I have to imagine that was something similar there. You're just ready to go, and then
Yeah. If anything, it was probably more relaxing for me because I had that adrenaline rush, and when I went back on the podium for that second time around, it was like more of a surreal moment. Like, okay, I got this, no problem at all.
fair enough.
Now, were the kids in the background? I noticed there's a lot of kids. Was that from your organization?
No, it was actually for a flag football game that they were promoting for Play 60.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So it was kids from different schools, and the kids were phenomenal. I mean, they were a lot of energy, and with all the extra pyro they had behind, it was a great scenario to be around.
Yeah,
that's
they
perfect.
actually got to play on the field as well.
They did.
A friend of mine, his son actually got to play. He was part of the flag football team. In fact, I see him in the video that we watched that we got the audio from. I can see his little redheaded face in there. Jack is his name. So, and I know he had a good time. It was a dream come true for him. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, they did a great job with, second one walking into the door until we left. I mean, Brown's organization definitely world class.
Just going back to your guys' organization, if someone wanted to get involved in a volunteer aspect or even make a donation, how would they be able to do that?
Best way to go about it would be just going to our website, which is achievementcenters.org. You can find me under the sports tab, as well as the agency itself has their own individual donation site. But volunteers, we're always looking for volunteers, and that's for all our sports as well. Again, just going to Achievement Centers for Children.org. And just send me an email. My phone number's on there. Give me a call. Let me know. We thankfully have each of our sports. We've had enough people come out and be able to assist and help us. But you never know when that time comes when people's schedules start to get a little busy. So definitely search us out, find us, and shoot me an email or call me if you're interested in volunteering.
Excellent.
Any other questions, guys?
No, I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you very much for coming on.
Well, thank you guys for having us.
This is fantastic. I'm glad that we were able to get you guys on and talk about your experience, and also most importantly talk about the organization. It's a great cause.
Great. Thanks, guys,
Yeah,
for
we
having
love
us.
that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That's Jeff Sinko and Mike Urban from the Achievement Centers. We're up here at Z's Cream and Bean. We have more guests coming up. The Olmsted Falls Varsity Baseball head coach is coming up, along with 4 players coming up soon here on Sports on Tap. We'll be right back.
For the best coverage of Cavs, Indians, and Browns, check out NEOSportsInsiders.com. NEOSportsInsiders.com brings you breaking news, opinions, and video from all things related to your favorite Cleveland sports teams. Like us on Facebook and follow at NEO Sports Insiders on Twitter for live updates from all the games. NEOSportsInsiders.com, bringing you the best in Northeast Ohio sports coverage.
Join Sports on Tap the first Thursday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, as Sports on Tap talks local Ohio high school sports, Cleveland sports, and national sports topics. It's all happening at Z's Cream and Bean the first Thursday of every month starting at 7:30 p.m. Join us.